Hello, it's Reviews Day Tuesday. It's time for a new episode of Discworld Discourses, and today I am going to be talking about I Shall Wear Midnight. This is the 38th Discworld book by Terry Pratchett, first published in 2010. It's the fourth book in the Tiffany Aching series, the penultimate book as well in the Tiffany Aching series, and in it our main character is now 15 years old and she finds herself going up against growing prejudice and suspicion towards witches, which is being helped along by the cunning man, a spirit of corruption and hatred. I Shall Wear Midnight feels to me to be significantly darker than the previous books in the Tiffany Aching series. You know, the series has always been a little more grown up and serious than you might expect from, you know, a series described as being for young adults. But with I Shall Wear Midnight it feels especially so. Tiffany is getting older, her work is serious and difficult. The book deals with a lot of serious subjects like abuse and death and murder. The villain is probably the most scary and the most recognisable to me, and Tiffany is quite often alone and separated from others, so you don't get the light relief that comes from, for instance, her young witch friends. And the Nakmak too, they do still provide light relief, but even things with them get more serious when their land is threatened, and you see a sort of different side to them. I mean, having said all of this, there's still plenty of humour and there is still light relief. I guess it's just that the more serious aspects of the book feel a bit more striking to me. There are many great characters in I Shall Wear Midnight who we meet or meet again. For a start, Tiffany visits Ankh-Morpork, so we get some fun cameos from that. Tiffany's story is so centred on the chalk that it was really fun to see her somewhere else, and also somewhere that we know really well from the rest of the Discworld series. And it was also great to meet some witches who are not from Lanka. In the Discworld series as a whole, it's kind of, you know, mainly wizards in Ankh-Morpork, witches in Lanka, so it was nice to have sort of a bit of a change and to get everything sort of mixing together. I was pretty impressed with how Tiffany's changed relationship with Roland was handled, especially when so much that has changed seems to have changed between the previous Tiffany Aching book and this one. And I was also impressed with how Letitia as a character progressed over the course of the book. There was a distinct lack of falling into stereotypes with her character that I was a big fan of, and just with that whole plotline, you know, the entire love triangle situation. Even the Duchess, who was pretty stereotypical and predictable, she had a bit of depth to her. There was a bit of a sting in the tail. Also, we have Preston, a new character who feels also like he's been there forever to me. I think he's a good addition to Tiffany's life, and I think that, you know, the book and the Tiffany Aching series in general, it separates Tiffany a lot from everyone else around her, and it's constantly showing us the ways that she is different from everybody else in terms of the way she thinks, her experiences, and Preston feels like a bit of a bridge there. Also, I promise I'll stop talking about characters soon, I don't want to go into spoilers here, but we see the return of a character who we haven't seen or even heard from at all since the very start of the Discworld series, and it felt very epic and important when we saw them. I was a big fan of that. So yes, a very interesting book in the Tiffany Aching series, I think, I Shall Wear Midnight. There's one final book to come in her run, The Shepherd's Crown, which is also the final Discworld book, and I can't remember that much about it other than a couple of very significant things that happen in that book, so I'm looking forward to reading it again in a few weeks to sort of see whether the Tiffany Aching series continues in this direction or if I Shall Wear Midnight is just, you know, slightly different in tone to the rest. And just to be clear, I don't dislike the slightly different tone to this book. You know that there is quite a lot that is sinister and scary and real in this book. I think it's probably my favourite in the Tiffany Aching series so far. It had a little bit of impact to me, and also because, you know, Tiffany is such an interesting character to me in this book. I mean, she's always been pretty interesting, but, you know, because she's getting older, we get to see her growth. She's very capable, but she's very flawed. She is brave, and she's proud, and she's brash. There were a few things that I did miss in terms of light relief, but, you know, the feel of the book did suit what Tiffany was dealing with in the book. It suited the story. I will give I Shall Wear Midnight 4.2 out of 5. I'd really love to know what you think about I Shall Wear Midnight if you have read it. Do you feel similarly to me? Did this book stand out to you from the others? I didn't remember, to be honest, it standing out so much the first time I read the series, so maybe it's just a particular mood at the moment that I'm in, I don't know. If you enjoyed I Shall Wear Midnight, what should you read next? I'd go to The Shepherd's Crown, the next and final Tiffany Aching book, although I would definitely recommend first reading the previous Tiffany Aching books if you haven't already. If you did not get on so well with I Shall Wear Midnight, you could try Snuff, which is the next Discworld book, or you could move earlier on in the series to something like Mort or Guards Guards. Some facts about I Shall Wear Midnight. I mean, just one, really. I don't have many facts about this book. Terry Pratchett has described this book as an urban fantasy, which is a subgenre of fantasy where supernatural elements are used in a 19th to 21st century urban setting. Famous examples would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Harry Potter. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. My next Discworld Discourses will be about snuff, and that'll be on the 18th of August. 3 books to go. It's feeling increasingly weird. And the full list of Discworld books and when I'm planning on reviewing them will be linked in the description below. Let's move across to the end screen. If you'd like to see my latest video or some more Discworld Discourses, then you can do so below me here. And if you fancy subscribing to my channel or visiting my website, then you can do so beside me here. And also, if you're interested, there is a link to my Patreon page in the description below. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.